Guerrilla cricket. Whoa. Guerrilla cricket. Whoa. Guerrilla. Take large man the barricades, patrol the cover boundary. At last the time is come, this is a cricketing emergency. Hear this call to arms for every cricket revolutionary. Take up your bats and stumps for the test match insurgency. At first they tried to silence us, but we would not be silenced. They threatened us with lies, so we threatened them with violence. Che Guevara, Sangakkara, Joseph Stalin, Douglas Jardine, Robespierre, Darrell Hare, Vladimir Lenin, O'Brien Kevin, guerrilla cricket. It's not about the winning, it's about how many rules you break. Even in cricket commentary, this is the best advice to take. Pick guerrilla cricket, it's the finest choice you'll ever make. There's so much more to cricket than rev counters and a slice of cake. At first they tried to sanitize us and clean up our act. But people like it filthy, and we know that for a fact. Fidel Castro, Lenny Pascoe, Carlos the Jackal, Umar Akmal, Mahatma Gandhi, Grant and Andy, Brendan Behan, Austin Ian, guerrilla cricket. Stick with us, cause you know we're not the kind of thing that you see on the TV and the radio. So vive la revolution. First they tried to buy us, but we would not be bought. Okay, we were, but then we ran away, and we will not be caught. Would not give up the ghost when they left us all for dead. They decapitated us, but we just grew another head. Chairman Mao, Jamie Howe, Ho Chi Minh, Asif Din, Václav Havel, Graham Saville, No Surrender, Percy Fender, Che Guevara, Sangakkara, Joseph Stalin, Douglas Jardine, Robespierre, Darrell Hare, Vladimir Lenin, O'Brien Kevin, guerrilla cricket.
We've had the tests, we've had the ODIs, and now we get to the serious stuff in a T20 World Cup year. This is the first of 9 T20 internationals for England before they take their place out in Australia. We are at Buffalo Park in East London in the Eastern Cape for the first of 3 matches. Good morning, good afternoon, good dawn, good dusk, wherever you are in the world. Welcome to Guerrilla Cricket. I'm Guerrilla Hendo, Nigel Henderson, and alongside me I have men of varying degrees of wisdom. On my left, it is none other than the man who is not Fred. He's very much not Fred.
Hello.
And on my right, it's a man who is very much is a knackle.
Morning, Hendo. Morning, afternoon, wherever you are in the world, whatever time it is in the world. Welcome, welcome, welcome.
Indeed, indeed, indeed. And the news, the big news is that England have won the toss and unsurprisingly have put South Africa into bat. The big news otherwise is that there's a hell of a breeze. It looks like a lovely ground, quite small and quaint, 15,000 capacity, lots of green banks, near the sea it would appear, but Owen Morgan talking in the run-up at the toss that this wind might cause a problem, Knuckle.
Yeah, indeed. It seems to be blowing very much sort of up and down, so towards one of the straight boundaries, so may look to bowl the spinners into the wind. The locals apparently say that in keeping with a lot of coastal grounds in South Africa, it may be slowish and flattish, but all of that remains to be seen. It is apparently the smallest ground in South Africa at international level. Indeed so.
And we were just looking back at something of its record, and I think the only test match, was it the only test match played there? Graham Smith Imagine sitting on those banks for all this time to watch Graham Smith get a double 100 and Gary Kirsten to get 150. No wonder no one's come back and watched any cricket at Buffalo Park since. That must have been hard going, but there you go. The news as regards teams is this: England going with Jason Roy, Joss Buttler expect to open, Johnny Bairstow, Owen Morgan, Ben Stokes, Joe Denley at 6, Moeen Ali, Tom Curran, Adil Rashid, Chris Jordan and Mark Wood. So no Dawid Malan. Is this Owen Morgan taking against Dawid Malan? You should know all these things as a Middlesex supporter, Fred.
I shouldn't think so. They don't play they've never played very much together. They're not the last 5 years.
He didn't like the fact that he didn't get any runs off the final ball of a
That's
match in New
true
Zealand,
of every limited overs game. You should run, unless you hit the boundary or get out, you should run until you run out. But
do you think he's being just a little bit nasty with Milan?
England have a surfeit of top order batsmen. I mean, there's an interesting sort of debate among sort of cricket writers and analysts about whether Buttler should open or whether you go with your strength. And Buttler has a superb record at the top of the order in T20 cricket, in the IPL in particular, and a little bit for England since he started opening for the Rajasthan Royals. In fact, I think he started for the Mumbai Indians and then got kept at the top of the order by the Rajasthan Royals, or whether you sort of cover up a weakness or perceived weakness by having him in the lower middle order. Personally, I'm very happy that Buttler is at the top of the order. I think it plays to England's strength, but you've got Buttler, Roy and Bairstow in the top three. You've got potentially Hales if he's no longer persona non grata, and Tom Banton to fit in, and Dawid Malan's had to miss out. Possibly you could play him in the middle order, but they've gone with Denley instead. But it's much closer to a full strength England T20 team than we saw in New Zealand, with the exception of Jofra Archer.
An embarrassment of riches, really, I suppose, for England. Joe Denley's done well in the ODIs, but I'm not sure that he is necessarily a man that will be there come Australia in the autumn. South Africa going with this lineup: Quinton de Kock captain, Timber Bavuma up to the top of the order is going to open with him, Rassie van der Dusen, Gigi Smuts, David Miller, Dwayne Pretorius, Andile Felequeo, Bjorn Hendricks bowled very well in the ODIs, and back at last it's Dale Steyn, 36 years old. I saw some talk that he just wants to just prop up the bar at mid-off and give a little bit of advice to his younger folk and tell them what they're doing wrong and all that sort of thing.
He has his sights firmly set on this T20 World Cup, and when reminded that there was one a year later, was like, well, the players are out there, the South African openers are in place, and this one will be facing.
Nice little mover. Front foot, back foot groover. Now it will behoove ya to keep an eye on.
To be his third T20, his first time opening.
Indeed so, and opening the bowling rather curiously, but it may not be a bad idea, is this man.
Our beard shouldn't touch. Move over, Amlo. I like it too much. Move.
And here he is into Bavuma, and Bavuma goes across his crease and then flicks the ball from way outside off stump up to long on for first run of the game. I should have said to finish off that team that we have Tabraiz Shamsi, who bowled well, his little mixture of left arm wrist spin during the ODIs, and Lungi Ngidi completes the 11. We're at the moment operating from the Park Drive end. What was the other end? Was it the Buffalo Park end? Something like that.
The Bunkers Hill end.
Oh, the Bunkers Hill end, that's right.
Interesting, the breeze is blowing from right to left as we see it, so towards the leg side for the left-hander, and the left-hander is this man.
Quinton de Kock has a name you can mock, because he's really quite useful with cricket. I have heard that he can open the bat, even if he's not keeping wicket.
I think the answer why Moeen is opening is because Joe Root isn't there.
No Joe Root, of course. We'll talk about that, as this is gracefully as ever by de Kock just eased up to long on. There is Ben Stokes to field. He's been left out of this T20 team, and there is talk, does this mean that he won't make it to the T20 World Cup? Well, I wonder, if you think back at how useful he was as a bowler in that competition, I'm not so sure. This is awful from Moeen Ali, dragged down, but Bavuma giving himself room outside the leg stump, then finding it following him, clips it away towards deep mid-wicket for another single. Quite watchful from South Africa in the opening stages. We'll come to your tweets, should any of you bother to join us.
I wonder if Moen was bowling deliberately into the leg side to try and get Pavuma to hit into the wind.
Maybe. He's in again, and de Kock is forward, plays it straight back to Moeen. And of course we know that a lot of opening batsmen don't like a lack of pace on the ball in the early stages.
We also know that the first over of any T20 innings is on average the slowest.
Flicked away off his legs. Fielded, I think that was Johnny Bairstow coming round at square leg. They picked up another single, so 4 runs off 5 balls. A very cautious and watchful start so far. Joss Buttler behind the stumps today.
England are wearing black armbands.
Oh no, now who's died? Moeen in to completely over it. Oh, that's way outside off stump, drifting a little bit further. Bavuma tries to bat that out into the offside, but horribly mistimes. The ball dribbles back to the bowler. That is the end of the first over. South Africa have made 4 without loss.
Some people have joined us on Quick Tracker. Asad Malik, Sajjad Malik Maxi, Prince A. Khalik Mughal. Nice to have a Prince join us. Karan Sani and VK Amirul Hassan. MD Rizwan, hello to all of you. And on Twitter, Spit the Dog says, hello, good morning and bollocks. Cricket while sober and awake, marvellous.
Is Spit the Dog, is that the man who used to be Roger Melly? On the basis that you do say hello, good morning and bollocks.
Yeah, Spit the Dog was Bob Carroll-G's appendage, wasn't it?
But is it the same tweeter? That's what I want to know, with a changed name, a different pseudonym.
Or the greeting has been passed on. And yes, bowling from the Bunker Hill end is this man.
Top cat, who's intellectual, close friends get to politics.
The black armbands are for the daughter of Steve James, the former Glamorgan, former England player and current writer for the Times, whose daughter died suddenly at the weekend.
Yes, I did see that on
21
Twitter.
years old.
Oh, that's tragic, absolutely tragic. Now, let's have a look at Tom Curran's field. Have we got a slip in there? Just moving one more across from the offside, it would appear.
Sort of a short, fine third man? Or is someone going into slip now?
Looks like we're going to get a second slip. 2 slips and that is a very strange position, isn't it?
It's only one
no,
slip.
it's one slip. Well, what was I seeing there?
The short, fine third man.
Anyway, here comes Curran. 3 saving the single on the offside. He's in, bowls to de Kock. De Kock drives handsomely, pleasantly and speedily, but straight to mid-off. And there is no run.
Dean Simister joins us on YouTube. He says, was hoping Jennings would miss out for Sri Lanka. It's not technically related to this game, but it's something we may discuss when we get a moment.
Yes, indeed. Adrian Holstock is one of the umpires. The other is Bongani Jelly, who's standing in his 10th T20 game. Curran in this one again. Pumped a little bit too strongly or forcefully up to mid-on by de Kock, where Chris Jordan fields.
He's been having lessons from Joe Denley.
Indeed, could have had a run there if it hadn't hit it quite as well. The slip is now coming out. That didn't last long, just the 2 balls. They are reinforcing the offside field, it would appear.
Matt, as Jaffrey says, this time for Africa on Quick Tracker. Perhaps.
We shall see. De Kock has 2, Bavuma has 2, and it's interesting, isn't it? Bavuma, come back to this as Curran is in, he's down the wicket, he lofts this into the air, and just over a leaping Chris Jordan. Really didn't get it as he would have wanted, but he has got himself 4 runs. I was confused about Bavuma because he'd hardly played any one-day internationals, despite having scored 100 against Ireland in one that he had played. He's only played 2 T20 internationals before now, one of which he got 49 in, which sounds pretty good to me, but he just hasn't been used in short-form cricket.
Well, you
by
have
South
to remember
Africa.
that a lot of South African batsmen have retired over the last year and a half, so there may not have been that many opportunities for him.
Yes, they were pretty. I mean, they had AB de Villiers and Faf du Plessis in their first choice 11 for one thing.
Yeah, you wouldn't leave them out, would you? Driven and straight this time, straight of mid-off anyway by de Kock, who's finally found his range, and he's picked up another boundary.
In fact, neither of his T20 scores to Bavuma. His 49 came off 43 balls, and his 27 came off 23. Neither of those are particularly quick.
No, they're not particularly quick. But I mean, when you're just finding your
limited sample
way,
size, yes.
when you're finding your way, did pretty well in the Mzansi T20 as well. Averaged 36.
His innings in the first ODI was superb.
It was brilliant. And now lofted, I think, a long way by de Kock over extra cover and over the boundary rope. 4-4-6 in successive balls.
Hitting with the wind, Quinton de Kock. That's just sailed possibly over the stand.
Well, one of the things about Curran is that although he has lots of variations and is a very good cricketer, an all-round cricketer in this form of the game, he can be quite expensive. He's conceded 8.71 is his economy rate. So if you sort of take that to a whole innings, that's looking at about a team getting 170 if he was the only bowler.
It's more, yeah.
Maybe more
is
than
it
that,
called
yeah.
an economy rate? Or
It is an economy rate.
A profligacy rate.
Well, he bowls a lot at the top of the innings and at the death, which are the two most expensive parts of the innings. So I think that plays a factor.
Probably does. It looks at the moment as if fielders are scattering to all parts of the ground.
You're
as much
only
as they
allowed
can.
2 outs.
Well, that's true. Where are the two going to be? One's going to be at deep mid-wicket by the looks of things. Can't see where the other one is for the time being.
Might be an offside sweep.
Final ball of Curran's expensive first over. He's in, and this is just fiddled into a gap on the leg side around about square leg. They take the easy one. He keeps the strike. 2 overs bowled. South Africa 19 for no wicket. Any more tweets, Fredster?
Yeah, the black armbands, Mir Katie has advised us what that was. And Spit the Dog was previously Lubrit in Sac.
Oh, right, okay. So
He's the
just another
Tisbos guy in Sacramento, California.
Just another fan of the good morning, hello, good morning, and bollocks line.
Who was mispronounced quite often. He wasn't realised that he was a Brit in Sac.
Okay, the other thing I must tell you is that the GPL is open. £33 in there. You have 45 minutes this game to estimate how many runs will be scored in the game's totality. And you go to the website, guerrillacricket.com/competitions. You give us £1 for every guess you have. That obviously expands the pot that we have there now. It's an incredible, ever-expanding pot. And then if you get it on the nose, you get everything that's in the incredible expanding pot. Moeen Ali starts his second over from round the wicket, chipped into the onside by de Kock. He's coming back for a second. He might have to hurry, and they're going to appeal, but I think it's a rather muted appeal from Jos Buttler. It did look as if he might be in trouble initially. It was Joe Denley who was coming in off the boundary to do the fielding. Takes them on to 21 for no wicket.
I've had a few people join us on our Facebook page. That looks like Woy Pom, a chap who I won't mention, but he's a well-known journalist from a well-known cricket website. So hello to you.
Flicked up to long on. Stokes is there. They take the single.
Probably I'm not going to out him as listening to us, but he is.
Oh,
so
no,
hello
come on,
you.
out him.
Oh, it's George DeBell who's joining.
George, you listen.
Yeah.
Hello, George. Hey, that's very nice.
22 off 2.2.
It is indeed. It's all the twos at the moment. As Moeen is into Bavuma, goes right across and then sweeps, gets the top edge. I think he's going to be safe.
Oh.
He is. 2 men were after it. Adil Rashid gets to it first.
Adil Rashid on the 45.
Well, it would appear so, but he didn't take the catch. He's got back for 2. Bavuma, he goes to 4. The score goes to 24 without loss.
Again, hitting with the wind.
Yes. Well, I love Bavuma. I don't know.
Sorry, but I'm talking
I just love him so much, especially because he's so little. He's only 5'4". This is driven, half stopped at extra cover. Stokes is the man having to do the work from long off and hurls the ball back. Not particularly accurate throw, which has Jos Buttler on the move slightly, but they do get back for another couple. So what's that? We've had 7 off the first 4 balls of this over, I think it is.
Yep. Bavuma might have got himself pigeonholed as a test player because of his early international appearances in the whites, where he was constantly having to firefight from a position of crisis. But he is a very fluent player.
He is. Moeen stays around the wicket to him, and he goes back and cuts, gets an under edge, which understandably Jos Buttler doesn't stay down long enough to
Bit harsh.
get anything behind. Rashid does the fielding, going to. Well, what
Buys.
would be-
It's a
well, goodness, buys, yes.
So maybe it wasn't a bit harsh.
Yeah, he should have done better, really. Adil Rashid once more was the man doing the fielding. I just wonder whether this wind is causing
Oh no, that's shocking wicket keeping.
the
I'm sorry.
bowling. The bowlers a few problems. It is. I'm sorry, Josh. Leading edge this time as he pushes into the onside, and it ends up in the covers where Joe Denley feels they don't get a run on this occasion. That is the end of Moeen's second over. He's conceded 11. South Africa have moved to 28 for no wickets.
Anna Forsyth, who we should perhaps call fickle Anna Forsyth, says, hello all, it's amazing how quickly I've got over Milan being dropped now that he's left Middlesex. I still think he should play, but I'm no longer personally wounded. Bloody grumpy git. And Jeff Perkins says, Curran's economy rate quickly making him England's cricket side's HS2. Well, if he goes for 100 odd billion runs, then yes, I think you could make that comparison.
HS2, I like that idea. Yeah, I mean, the thing about HS2, it would be absolutely wonderful if all they needed to do was make it go from Manchester to Leeds. Forget the London to Birmingham bit.
Somehow, rather harshly described as right arm fast medium, coming on from the Bunkers Hill end is this man.
Do you know Mark Wood? Yes, he is an England bowler, quite good and pretty quick. So just a normal guy. Of course, except for just one thing. What? He thinks that he's a horse. Right. What?
He does indeed. So just the one over from Curran, and here comes Wood. Around the wicket to de Kock. Oh, and he's bowled him pretty much a beamer,
should be a
which has flown away, bounced horribly for Butler, who couldn't get anywhere near it, and that has gone for four somethings. We're going to find out what, hopefully, in the not too distant future.
Oh, wrong one. Where's that boundary jingle gone? It's disappeared. He did get back on it, bottom edge.
Yeah, got a bottom edge as he was getting out of the way of it, really. It was a horrible ball to face.
He's not a big man, de Kock. He's not as short as Bavuma, but I think that was above waist height, and that probably should have been given as a no ball.
Yeah, was it? Presumably not.
Doesn't look like it.
That must have
it was
slipped.
close. But and he did advance a little bit.
The other thing is that it was just following poor old de Kock, so if it had been a bit higher,
signalled.
it would have been a really tricky. And again! But he's got hold of it, he's picked it up, and lifted this away over deep backward square leg for one of these.
2, 4, 6.
That was the
Wood
free
is
hit.
going at 66 runs per over.
Well, on the basis that, yes, he has bowled one... Has he actually bowled one genuine ball?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, the first ball was one of these.
Over the line!
Well,
I think that could have been as well.
Of, over
line.
the waist.
I think that could have been a given as well. But he's picked
Maybe
up
it
for
was. Let's have a look.
No.
He's gone for none for 11 off one ball, and this is now slogged really into the onside by de Kock. Jordan is round at deep mid wicket, and they only get the one on this occasion. I think Mark Wood just having a word with Quinton de Kock there to say sorry about that, mate, and de Kock took it all in good heart.
Well, if Curran is the UK's HS2, then Wood at this point is sort of NASA or something. I don't know quite how much he's costing England, but it's
Suez Canal.
The thing about HS2,
that was useful,
The
at
thing
least.
about HS2 is they said it would take you.
So was NASA.
This is very important. I question the wisdom of this HS2, and I'll tell you why. After this ball, Wood now looks like he's going to come over the wicket to the right-handed Bavuma.
nothing like a bit of parochial politics.
Absolutely. I'm sure you really care about it, but you might.
You're
you
listening
might.
to us all over the world.
You might, if you're coming to England at any point, want to know about the HS2. I don't think it's going to be built until about 2040 anyway, from the sound of things. So I don't think I'm going to have to worry about it too much. Anyway, we've got some field changes have been made. 4 saving the 1, or inside the circle on the offside, 3 on the onside. In comes Wood, bowls, much better ball, but it's nicely clipped by Bavuma. It means that the man out there, Joe Denley, has had to make a long run from deep square leg towards deep mid wicket. Gets the throw in well, but it's 2 more for Bavuma. Now, the thing about the HS2 is, and this is important, they say it will take 45 minutes. They will say that these trains are going to run at 225 miles an hour. It's going to take 45 minutes from Birmingham to London, and there are going to be 18 services an hour. And not only that, they say each train can hold...
It sounds like a Mensa test.
Each train will be able to hold 1,000 people. Now, I question, after this ball from Wood, as he's in to Bavuma. Bavuma hang on, let me finish. Gets a good length ball, which he turns to mid-wicket. There is no run. I question, are there 18,000 people an hour wanting to get from Birmingham to London?
Well, that direction, yes. Probably not the other way. Fraser Middleton says, yeah, but if you're in Birmingham, you want to get to London, don't you?
Yeah, but every hour of every day.
Well, you know,
Don't be
if you go
daft.
to the Edgbaston Test match, you want to get out there. As
They're
quickly
not.
as
They're
possible,
not all going to be full.
Well, no, but that's my point. My point is, do you really need 18 services an
Well,
hour?
if you're building the track, you might as well
18
run
services
as many
an hour?
trains as you can.
I don't know.
That's clearly not going to happen.
It's craziness. In comes Wood, wide on the crease, lifted over mid-wicket by Bavuma. And poor old Denley's going to have to do more work racing around.
Oh yeah, poor old Denley.
Poor old Denley. Bavuma has finally found his way to 10, mainly in twos, it has to be said. 10 from 10 balls. De Kock has 31 from 14. And South Africa, with one ball of the fourth over remaining, are 44 for no wickets.
Fraser Middleton says, do you think Morgan has too much influence on selection? He is the captain, but the stuff with Hales and now Milan seems personal. Well, we don't know that. Which should be out with his remit. I would say on that, we don't really know what goes on between captains, coaches and selectors as regards who gets picked for particular games. But I think, when you're a captain going into a game, you do want people that you want there.
Morgan's earned the right to have some influence.
Oh, I'm sure he has. He
Phil
has
Jones
some
gives us his
influence.
first fun stat of the day.
Oh, good.
But he put fun in inverted commas. So
Oh, right. Wood into Bavuma. He lifts this one beautifully. And that will be one bounce four to mid-wicket. Lovely pickup from him. And it's 4 runs.
1 2 ka 4 4 2 ka 1. My name is Lakhan. My name is Lakhan.
The first fun stat of the day is England bowlers with at least 5 T20 matches under their belts. Denley and Wood have the best averages at 12.14 and 13.45 respectively.
As
well,
bowlers.
Woods has gone up. Denley is still the same.
Yeah, but often we don't look so much at the average. We look at the
No,
economy rate, don't we, in
true.
this form of the game? Although
And
wickets
Jeff
always
Perkins
are
said that
helpful.
Wood is starting to look like England's 737 Max. He has had some trouble with the undercarriage.
Hang on, so HS2 to a 737 Max. We're covering the gamut of transport.
I mean, Wood is
Yeah.
considerably faster than Curran, so that
He's not quite as fast as the 737 Max, to be fair. Averages. You're right about averages. It's economy rates that matter.
well, I mean, it's a combination of the two.
Yeah, I mean, if you get wickets as well, it helps with your economy rate, generally speaking.
Ooh, that's-
It's gone way high into the outfield. Is that going to come down in the hands of a man? It is indeed, and it is the aforementioned Joe Denley. De Kock goes. Moeen Ali has the first wicket. South Africa are 48 for 1.
How's that? You messed about, I caught you out. How's that?
Which is a
by
shame.
Moeen.
It was an enterprising innings from De Kock, but he has gone. I was actually surprised that De Kock hasn't got the record in T20 internationals that I would have expected of him. That said, he's played a lot of T20 cricket around the world, mainly for IPL franchises. 4 of them, I think.
He hasn't
so
done
far.
that well in tests either in terms of centuries. I was looking. He's only second to Bavuma of top flight batsmen who haven't scored a century for a long time in the number of tests that they've played. Although, to be fair, he is a wicket keeper as well.
Well, he's been batting a lot of the time at 7.
Yeah, that's
in
true.
That team, which is kind
but
of
it's good to see
difficult
that
score
Denley can take an easy catch now and again as well.
it's very, very.
Yeah, so far
encouraging.
he's only taken screamers. Quinton de Kock gone for 31 off 15 balls, 3 fours and 2 sixes.
Yeah, enjoyed that little knock. And another man that I enjoy, especially in the short form of the game, although he showed that he can bat time in test matches, is this man.
Brazil and the Dusen can play all the shots. He'll bring his reverse sweep to every game he plays.
I love that little bit of gypsy violin at the end of that.
It's piano.
There's a violin. Can't you hear the fucking violin? Ignoramus. Moeen Ali over the wicket. Van der Dussen forward pushes to extra cover, and there is no run.
Well, that was nicely bowled by Moeen to get the wicket of Quinton de Kock, because he tossed up a little bit, got a little bit of dip, which meant that it fell a little bit shorter of where Quinton de Kock was expecting it.
Van der Dussen goes back and jabs the ball, trying to get it straight of the man at mid-wicket. Doesn't succeed in that, so again it's no run.
Greek hors d'oeuvres.
In comes Moeen Ali, and he plays a very similar shot. This time he does get it straighter, rather crabby, But up to Jordan at long on, takes the single, gets off the mark,
Gets a-
49 for 1.
Gitson Gratz is furious,
Well,
or at least
Tony-
annoyed that
Because Tony's not here.
That I'm off the edge of the screen on the YouTube,
that's-
which is a legitimate complaint. Jeff Perkins says, "Well, are you preparing for the great Birmingham refugee crisis?" Split the Dog says, talking about sportsmen with large noses.
Moeen bowls swept, sweetly swept, and the diving form to backward square leg is unable to prevent the ball's progress all the way to the boundary for one of
It's
them.
me, and she. It's me, and she.
50 up for South Africa, 53 for 1. Bavuma onto 18, 1 ball remaining in the 5th over. We will have a change at the end of this over. The Bear has come in and he has 2 cans of beer in his hand. And this time Bavuma will take the single. Maybe looking for 2 because he played that quite slowly up to long on, but you probably won't risk that on Chris Jordan's arm. That is the end of the over. 1 over of the power play to go. South Africa are 54 for 1. The Bear will be your next ball by baller.
Yep, you owe us all right. You think this alternative cricket commentary stuff comes cheap? Well, we need some dollar bills to help pay our bills, so please go to patreon.com/Gorilla Cricket and sign up to make a regular monthly donation. You know there is literally nothing like Gorilla Cricket's coverage, so don't be tight. Dip into your virtual pocket and throw some cash our way. See, Rihanna knows. Patreon.com/Gorilla Cricket.
Pay me what you want it.
Yeah, pass what you want to do. Afternoon, peeps. Oh, it's right bright, isn't it?
All right there.
Right, it's right in my eyes. Had a bit of a migraine this morning, that's probably why. Well, the cock blazed, flickered briefly, didn't he? What a shame. Chris Jordan is now going to come into the attack now.
Well, it's not that briefly, to be fair, because I mean, even if you get out in the 5th over, if you've gone at that rate, then
31,
you've done a good job for your team.
You have indeed. The stupidity of T20s. But hey ho, that's what they are. Hit and giggle.
And this chap's bowling.
Chris Jordan's back will make him cry. More England caps will soon.
And his first ball isn't a no ball, it's into the deck with a cutting motion. That'll be a cutter. And it's pulled out to deep back square leg for a single.
Sorry about that.
I noticed you were talking about HS2 earlier. It's a good infrastructure project, isn't it? Massively overpriced. I don't know how the fuck they can get to 102 million. For
Well, it started
56.
like 18 billion, then it was 50 billion,
I know,
then it's
I
100
mean,
billion,
you just
whatever.
throw money at it. And it's gonna
only
take-
taxpayers' money.
And I can't see how it takes 10 years to build, man. Just cut a load of channels and get on with it. I can guarantee that anyone else would do it in about 3. But hey ho,
it's
that's
probably
England for you.
Newt conservation or something.
Yeah, people moaning about having to sell their house on the compulsory purchase orders. Pulled out to deep backward square leg for another single. Oh, no, it's 4. Bad shit. Who's that? Is that Denley? It is Denley. Not only because he drops sitters at mid wicket, he lets one through his legs for 4 runs. I would not be happy if I was the bowler.
That is a shocker.
That is a total shocker. He's just stood there. It's been pulled. Identical shot to same before, just in front
Didn't
of the
take
square.
a bad bounce.
Didn't take a bad bounce.
No long barrier.
No long barrier.
Fuck
First
off,
thing you
Denley.
get taught when you're about 7, long barrier. He's just stood there and knocked his hands down low enough. That's crap. I think KFC have taken over from Betway for the T20s.
In sponsorship news.
Are they sponsoring us? No. Someone's trying to call me though. There's a big appeal for LBW.
Came off the bat, I thought.
I'm not quite sure. It kind of looked that way, but we shall see on the replay.
It looked a bit wooden.
They're
It
thinking
could
about
have
an appeal
been,
there.
but
They are going to review.
It didn't look right, but who knows?
Bearing in mind that's gone straight out to cover as well.
Yeah.
Could have been pad onto bat.
That was
definitely out. Was that definitely out? I don't know.
Or they could be secret Tendulkar pads.
Well, I wasn't paying that much attention
We're not
when he
supposed to
first
say
bowled
that.
it,
Yeah.
and you were checking your phone, so no one was really sure whether.
Well, we're going to have a look now. Alhuddin Paleka is the third umpire, and it is straight off the face of the bat. He's fucking
Middled it.
defended that right out of the middle of the bat, and England have just wasted a review. What a bunch of idiots.
Honestly,
That's
is
a
almost.
terrible review. I
That's-
mean, are you fucking blind or what? I mean, come on.
No, his bat hit his pad, but the ball hit the middle of the bat.
Yeah. And they can't see that.
That is almost match-fixing terrible review, that is.
Yeah, indeed. That's poor. Jordan went up. maybe he needs contacts. Maybe he's not got them.
They should go to the third umpire who should just laugh at them. He shouldn't actually say that's I'm turning down your review.
Well, we don't have a review left.
Oh.
Next ball gets down on one knee, and I think he's pulled it all the way for 6. The cameraman was pretty poor, and he kind of went over the top of the ball. But it was obviously going in the air out towards deep square leg, and it's got over the boundary, and it's 6 runs.
I believe in miracles. Since you came to bat, you're 6 in vain.
I'm surprised he didn't appeal for LBW.
I believe in miracles.
Pad first, bounce onto the boundary, and over the boundary. England have bowled pretty poorly in this first 6 overs here, haven't they?
It's a flying start for South Africa.
Yeah, it's a smallish ground.
It is a smallish
We are led
ground,
to believe.
but I mean Wood's first 2 balls were pony.
Yep.
They're taking a chance, it's true. That's a better ball. It's driven up to mid-off.
Oh.
That's a bit bouncy. Now that was a bad bounce. That or Rashid. That's Moeen Ali. He did try to get around and smother it, but it bounced just before it got to him quite wickedly, and probably came off his shoulder and back past him. And I get back for 2.
If you have a bad outfield, we've all played on them.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
It's more important to use a long barrier.
barrier, exactly.
Definitely.
Get your body behind it.
Yeah. But that did bounce up and hit him on the wrist.
Yeah, he was kind of behind it, but it wasn't a long barrier, Fred.
No.
It wasn't a long barrier.
But the trouble with the long barrier is you can't attack the ball.
No.
You have to wait for the ball to get to you. So
Absolutely.
if they think they're coming back for 2, they are a little bit more aggressive in the field.
Jordan in, slower ball again, pulled out towards. Hey, well fielded.
Fielded
Denley
Denley.
actually fielded that one.
No long barrier,
stretched his
though.
hand. No long
Still
barrier.
no long barrier.
No long barrier.
Well,
It's a
yeah.
single.
As I say, when the fielder thinks they're coming back for 2, they want to
Yeah.
get the ball
You do have to attack
and
it.
get rid of the ball quickly, which is more risky rather than getting down on one knee and making sure you've prevented the boundary. But Wood was actually lucky. His first ball was a no ball for
Second
height.
ball
The
should
second
have
ball
been.
should have been as well, but wasn't given.
Is that live?
No.
That's out. That's the wicket I missed. I was in the toilet.
Yeah, so
Well, again, it's a shame Moen's not going at Sri Lanka, isn't he? He's definitely not going now, he said. Declared.
Well,
It's
they've
a bit of a
announced the
shame.
team and the squad, and he's not in it.
Yeah.
the
But I think beforehand.
The 3 spinners are Parkinson and Leach and Bess.
Yeah.
Well, if Leach is okay and Bess is okay, but I give Parkinson a go. I mean, at least there'll be helpful wickets for him. I still
We
yet to see-
assume.
Yeah, well, we assume. Yeah. He does give it a bit of loot.
Well, of course, there's fucking Denley.
Well, of course, and there's Root, of course.
Got a tweet
too.
coming about Denley, actually.
Oh well, yeah. Give us some tweets. I've
Follow-
been yapping too
Follow
much.
up from Fielding after this ball.
Well, Wood's going to continue. I think he took the pace off that one too. So everything's pace off. It's been clipped out to deep wide long leg. Comes off the boundary. It's a single. I didn't see the pace. Where they keep changing these bloody scoreboards as to where the bloody speed is, etc. Give us a tweet.
Follow up from Phil Jones. Looking at the economy rates for England bowlers who played in more than 5 T20 matches. Rashid is 9th with 7.51. Denley is 13th, 7.72. Ali and Jordan are 20th and 21st at about 8.5.
In history, is that in all England?
In all England T20s, yeah.
Jesus Christ, it's depressing being a bowler in this form of the game. That's
that's
a length
gone.
ball and it's been slapped over mid on to wide long on. There is only one out there for Woody, and it's gone for 4 more. And he's going for an average of 3 a ball at the moment. You're looking for your Coke? Yes. Yes. No, he's got a bag for the cocaine. That's our Hendo. He needs it to keep awake, to be honest.
Yeah, he could get through a bag full of cocaine and
Yeah,
then go to
still
sleep
fall
as well.
asleep. Yeah, it's true. Anyway, tweets.
Following up again from Phil, posed us a question: who do you think the best is on an economy of 6.36 for England?
Stuart Broad?
What, 6.36 per ball.
No, he had a very good spell in T20s for a
He
while.
did,
Do you
yeah.
remember when England won that?
It's certainly not that
very
idiot who used to play for. Who was?
Could be Joe Root. I don't know.
Who was the kid we used to have teenage dirtbag for?
Dernbach.
Dernbach, that's it. Clipped into the leg side. He was
66.
Oh, and it's another misfield, and he's lost his sonnies. Who's that? Stokes. But only got 1 run for it because he decided not to come back. He did stop the ball, and he overrun it by a couple of yards.
Yeah, it's an interesting point about fielding, actually. Well, it may not be an interesting point, but You do
And
have
they
to
can't
attack
have
the
two, sorry.
ball, and if you're in a bobbly outfield, then
It's harder.
you're taking big risks, aren't you?
Yeah, you are risking missing the ball. Woody in again. It's another one. He's taking the ball pace off it. It's been worked down to third man. This will only be a single. Where the fucking hell's the speed, man?
There isn't any.
It's rubbish. Not getting enough information off the telly.
Another tweet from Gits and Gratz. As great as you all are and still worth watching, Hendo was right, I do miss Tony Bishop. Is there any way of incorporating his image into the green screen, even just a watermark? Please.
No. You just have to wait, Gits and Grats, till he gets back.
I would never have guessed that
And learn to
Tony
love
Bishop would have
Learn to
groupies.
love the rest of us. The Bish is out in Australia. Oh, fished out by Van der Dussen outside the off stump. Didn't get to the pitch of it at all. Perhaps was a bit of a wishy-washy shot. Kind of like a defensive. I don't really want to be playing defences in T20s.
Well, he was trying to work it down to third man.
Yeah,
Trying to
maybe.
guide it.
Maybe it went a fraction off the seam too. But he looked behind.
He was neither forward nor back in there.
No, he just stood on a crease fencing at it. But it's T20, isn't it? It went through to Butler anyway, and there was no run. A dot ball, a precious dot ball for Mark Wood, who is 9 balls, 11 balls. He's going for
28.
yeah,
11.
28 off 2 overs plus whatever comes off this ball, which is driven out square to the boundary, which will be a single. 29 off Woody's 2 overs. That's pretty fucking expensive. Any more tweets?
We've got an answer to
Oh,
England's
6 point most effective. Oh, hold
economical.
on. We've got to have a couple of guesses here.
You said Rashid, didn't you? It wouldn't be Stokes, who's gone for a lot.
No.
Do you want a clue?
Yeah,
Is a spin bowler.
is a spin bowler. Swanee?
Correct.
Grant
Really?
Swan.
It is me. 6 from the free six.
Yeah, so he'd have played in the earlier times when pinch hitting, etc., all the strategies that are employed now weren't necessarily employed in those days.
The projected score is 220,
Ouch.
which, considering they're going 77 off 7, is not that hard to work out, is it?
No.
It's 11 and over.
These things don't
But
often pan out like they're supposed to.
no.
Do they?
no, but against this England lineup, you think
See,
you might
here
need
comes-
something.
Here comes Adil Rashid. In fact, this is a good time to bet on under for the total score, because they probably will have a goal, right?
Adil Rashid on the 45. 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 Adil can turn it both ways. Adil can turn it. Oh. Adil can turn it both ways. Adil can turn it. Adil can turn it both ways. Adil can turn it on the 45.
Yes, he can indeed, and it was good to see him back the other day. Brought a bit of control in the middle. First ball looked like a googly. Rashid Van der Dussen just plays it up to long on, and there is a single. South Africa versus England T20. What's the run line for the score? 7 runs, 2-way. Now we got under 160. The run line is 187 and a half. I might actually go over that. I'm going to go over that, which is not really my thing, but I'm going to go over that. Adil Rashid is in. Second ball is swept quite airily. One bounce down to Denley. Deep backward square leg. A single.
Fielded Denners.
Did
bounce into his hands
what
quite
big
nicely.
hitters have they got to come? I think Dale Staines playing. Yeah,
They've got Miller.
Miller, yeah.
Oh, Miller can hit a long ball. That's true.
Yeah. If they get down to Dale Steyn, they'll be struggling.
Yeah, they will be. That's another googly. He's an appeal for LBW, but it's going down the leg. Went quite a long way as a googly, actually. I don't think Van der Dussen picked it. There's a man on the 45 and he fields it. They're going to leg by. But if it was 28 off 18, 17 off 13 for Van der Dussen, and I should give you the score. It's about 70 odd, isn't it?
He didn't pick it at all.
No, he didn't pick it at all. He just
But
fenced
he's not
out.
alone. A lot of people in
Don't.
international
I know.
cricket
80
don't
for
pick his
one in
googly.
South Africa. That's a good sweep shot for Bavuma, but can't beat Moeen Ali. He's on the 45, right on the edge of the 30-yard circle. And it'll only be a single.
So 4 runs off the 4 balls of this over, 4 singles
That's
is
good for
is
England.
good going.
Yeah.
One of them a leg by.
Exactly.
Jeff Perkins saying, you think there'd be a chess set in the green room they could borrow a piece from to put Bishop up?
No. Yeah, we quite small though, wouldn't it? Driven up to long off for a single.
Well, he is quite small. Well, we shall forward your sentiments, Gits and Grats, to
I'm
Bish.
sure he's listening. He might be.
Don't know what time
it might
it
be in the
is
middle of the
over
night
there,
actually.
isn't
About 3 o'clock
Weirdly,
in the
he
morning.
did get in touch with me the other day. That's swept nicely by Bavuma, and they'll come back for 2 in front of square. That's about deep mid wicket. I think man's behind square, had to get around to field it.
7 off the over, so pulling it back a little bit.
He might have been jet lagged, but I sort of emailed him at about what would have been about 3 in the afternoon here, so it's 2 in the morning or something. And I got an email back from him almost immediately.
Yeah, it's tricky. He spent a couple of days in Singapore,
Singapore.
didn't he, catching the
Catching
coronavirus.
the coronavirus, yeah.
He's now spreading it around
I don't think
Australia.
he should allow him back in when he comes. He's
No.
clear fucking quarantine. Any more tweets?
Tom M saying Rashid's jingle might be 5 favourites, except for maybe Bancroft.
Ah, yes. I think Gits and Grats, I'm not sure where they live, but they'll be happy to put up Bish in quarantine for a few months, I would have thought.
Oh, I'm sure they would.
Yeah. Well, if they get to 10 and over from here, they will get over 200, won't they?
Yeah. Well, it's supposed to be a pretty decent track to bat on, driven that by Van der Dussen, square on the offside.
As
To
Curran is the
Roy.
man back into the attack.
Indeed. TC. And
Nothing's happening. Okay. This machine's gone.
is it not? It's the old thing. There you go. Triple tap.
The most effectual tap.
He's up to the crease now. Ooh, it's down the leg side. It's going to be a wide. It was a loopy one. Still can't bloody find a pace on this thing. Oh, there it is. Right. So it comes up there now, does it? It's
Yeah.
68 miles an hour. It's fucking annoying, man. They change it every game, it would seem.
Yeah, he took a bit of. I think his first 2 balls were dots, and then he went for 4-4-6, didn't he?
Yeah, got picked up. Another slower ball into the pads, and yeah, a bit of inside edge, ran it down past Al Rashid, who's on a 45, and it's 4 runs.
Well, we've got the very own Pavel Florin tuning in by a contractor, saying good start for South Africa.
Indeed. It's been a very good start, but you know, see how England do when they're doing it as well. They've got to have a go too. Bit short boundaries, supposedly a good wicket, bit of dodgy outfield, get some misfielding. That's straighter, a fuller pace, clipped up to long on.
It's good running. He took 2 for that because he didn't. He either took the pace off the drive or didn't time it very well, but they could comfortably make 2.
Yeah, it took its time to get down there. Bavuma is very quick between the wickets.
Yeah.
For a little guy as well.
Yeah,
Smaller steps.
but more often.
More often.
Here comes TC. He's up to the crease. Another slower ball because a bit of a cut, and it's clipped out to deep mid wicket for 1.
South Africa strong favourites on the exchanges at the moment.
Are they?
Yeah, 1.56. England 2.74. Make of that what you will. But at 92 for 1, and we're still in the 9th over, having been put into bat. I'll commentate on this because you're not watching. Yeah, he's gone and scooped it over his shoulder, as Van der Dussen. It's a slower ball again from Curran, 67 miles per hour. And he's got this very fine, down to fine leg for... Yeah, out the back of the hand, and it wasn't Van der Dussen, it was Bavuma. He was waiting for it. He was very, very early, and he had to wait, and then scooped it over his shoulder and over the keeper for fine 4.
Yeah, they're doing pretty well there, aren't they? Driven next ball up to long on, and it'll be a single.
I'm wondering if they're overthinking it. You know, the balls that are sort of full and straight tend to go for 1s, and everything else is going for boundaries.
Well, yeah, you do wonder, don't you? Yeah, 97 for 1 after 9 overs. After another over, we'll have a little switcheroo. I don't know what the switcheroo is. I'm sure Hendo will tell me.
Hendo's
Or come in
master
tapping
of
at
the
me rather
rotor.
than-
He's probably on the last spell of the second innings, Hendo.
Yeah,
He just likes his gaps, doesn't he? He likes a break.
Likes a large gap.
Yeah. 10.78 runs per over so far. And, yeah, they're going along quite nicely. They're playing in East London.
Wickets.
Do you think they talk Cockney in East London?
Yeah, probably.
Cockney Afrikaans.
Cockney Anzani. Tossed up very wide by Adawashi, driven out by Bavuma, gets fat inside half of the bat, which goes past his stumps down to the man on 45, who is Moeen Ali, and it's a single. Bavuma was on 37 of 23, Vanderdussen 25 of 18, 98 for 1, we're in the 10th over. Adawashi. Oh, that's a big appeal for LBW. It's got to be close.
No.
No reviews.
Given? No reviews. You fucked it up in the first one, didn't you? Appealing one that came off the face of the bat, and that looked pretty plumb to me.
Well, the umpire said he didn't give it because it was too high. He was allowed to, when they've got no reviews left, he can tell them why he's turned it down.
Yeah.
He
I
was
don't know if
quite
that's
far
too.
forward.
He was quite far forward. That wasn't. No, that's straight.
It actually hit above the knee roll. Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean the angle. It was quite a flat delivery, quite skiddy. I'm not sure that was going over. When he's on down one on knee and it's tossed up well outside the off stump, but Vanderdussen is able to adjust and flops it over the top of Butler's head with a little ramp. It was pretty ugly, but it was effective. Bit of a drag down really, but it was wide enough and slow enough. Vanderdussen could just adjust himself and tap it over the top of Butler's head.
A run scored down there.
Yeah, well, yeah. Oh, pulled out of his run up. There's Adawashi.
Was he looking at a mankad there? I think Bavuma was out of his crease. Does that count as a warning?
I don't know. He didn't seem to. I think he just lost it. That's tossed up. Oh, there's an appeal for OBW. That's got to be close. He's given him. It didn't pitch. So it's not a question of whether it was going to pitch in line or not. It might have been drifting down leg side, but it was a full bung at it. Vanderdussen just missed.
Has he reviewed it? No,
I
we don't know
reckon
yet.
he should.
I don't. Well, it's not going to matter where it pitches. It's a question of whether it's going to hit the stumps.
If
I
it hits on
suppose.
the full, you can only assume it's going straight on.
Well,
Exactly.
And he has reviewed it.
And he has reviewed it indeed.
I was definitely in. Were you definitely in? I don't know.
I mean, I thought it was drifting down, but I think it might be drifting to umpire's call on leg stump.
If it's hitting, it's going to be umpire's call at best.
Well, his front foot's fine.
It's a pretty poor way to get out, missing a full toss, but hey, that's the way it
We've all
goes.
done it.
We have indeed. All that straighter than I thought it was, actually. If he's missed that, that's out, man.
That's going to hit leg stump.
That's going to hit leg stump. It
Umpire's
certainly
call,
looks like
I
it.
reckon.
Well,
Let's have a look.
I don't think there was any bat involved. And I don't think he thought there was any bat involved. Otherwise, he would have gone up straight away. He would have gone to review straight away.
Yeah. It's when it drops
a
it.
little bit leggy.
It
But
is a bit leggy. It's when it drops it seems to go. Maybe he did get a bit of something. It seemed to divert a bit in the air.
It looked a bit early on it.
Well, we haven't seen anything. We've looked at it a couple of times. Yes, right. It's hit him in line and it didn't pitch. So let's have a look at the other thing,
Where's
shall
the
we?
Snicko? Where's the hot spot?
Where's Snicko? Where's Hotspot? Have they lost it like the other day? I heard.
Oh,
I think
was
there's
there-
something on that.
But was that arm or glove or?
It doesn't really matter, does it?
If
it's arm-
if it's arm, you could still be out LBW. But if
No,
Snicko is
by a
showing
long way.
nothing until it hits the pads. So we just need to go to Hawkeye.
Bang in front of middle and leg.
Yeah. Okay, we're on Hawkeye. There was nothing, no contact. It's just at the end there. It seems to dip away, doesn't it? It's hit him inside leg stump. It's going on to miss.
Oh!
It's missing down leg side. So that's a successful review by Vanderdussen.
Review lost, it says? No, not review lost.
Problems with technology in South Africa. What happened on Sunday? There was something when Nico was out of action or something, wasn't it?
So they
Yeah.
kept their review, which Vanderdussen then used. England had thought that they'd used their review because was it Bavuma was given out and appealed it and was then given out, and then Vanderdussen reviewed again and they said, well, he hasn't got a review. But
Apparently it was
Ali Dar made it up off his own. What?
There's another appeal for
I hit
LBW.
the bat!
It did seem to come off the toe end of the bat.
Butler was appealing before the ball had got there.
Yeah. So he went down to try and ease it over Butler's head again with a ramp.
What's
They seem to
going on?
Q-end it square out to square leg. Butler's appealing. No one's running after
He did a
ball.
star jump.
Yeah, and they managed to get back for 2.
England should just go for another review because they think that reviews are unlimited nowadays.
Yeah.
If it's was it Alim Dar the other day who decided off his own bat to give them another review?
Yeah, I'm not sure Alan Gar was there. Worked into the leg side by Van der Dussen. This time, man comes herring in from deep mid wicket. Can't see who.
And we're going to have a.
And it's a single. We're going to have a
Get
change.
a couple
105
tweets.
for 1. Oh, yeah.
You can read some tweets in the
Couple
meantime.
of tweets. Tom M saying South Africa's flag has a beautiful variety of colours. Why do they always go for an Australia light for the limited over strip? Very good question indeed. It does seem very like Australia's. And Anna Forsyth, could be early for work, but I'd rather get an extra 10 minutes of guerrilla cricket in my life. There's no one I'd rather hear describe Denley misfields and Tom Curran's loose bowling.
Yeah, indeed. It's a slightly bobbly outfield. I don't think Denley was a particularly. I don't think Denley's misfield was particularly due to the outfield. Certainly Moeen's. Well, South Africa 105 for 1 after 10. England's spinners have been by a distance much more effective than their seamers. All of their fast bowlers have gone round the park. We do have a change of seam bowler at the Buffalo Park drive end. Tom Curran off and the big all-rounder on.
I got out Ben Stokes and he called me a oh, if I'd only seen that Ben Stokes was so mean.
Stokes back into T20 side, ball's full outside off stump, and it's driven by Rossi van der Dussen, but not timed at all off the toe end of the bat back to Ben Stokes. Bavuma sent scurrying back into his crease. There is no run. I think it went all along the ground. Toe end into the ground, I think. Yes, sorry, bump ball and well stopped, sort of, by Ben Stokes. You're listening to Guerrilla Cricket's coverage of England's tour of South Africa 2019-20, the first of 3 T20 internationals. England pretty much at full strength apart from Jofra Archer. Stokes in not a particularly impressive T20 international career with the ball, obviously most famous for being hit for 4 sixes in consecutive balls by Carlos Brathwaite. Obviously he's improved quite a bit as a cricketer since then, but has underwhelmed in T20 colours for England. Bowls full outside leg stump really, and Van der Dussen turns it to square leg for a single, bringing Temba Bavuma back onto strike. 106 for 1. Neither of these two going at a terribly fast scoring rate. Bavuma 37 off 23. Actually, that's more than decent. Rossi van der Dussen 31 off 25, 124 runs per 100 balls. Needs to probably get on with things if South Africa aren't going to waste this start. Bavuma's trying to make sure they don't length from Stokes in the slot. Bavuma drives handsomely over the top of mid off. 1 bounce 4. Beautiful shot by Temba Bavuma. This is by a distance his fastest scoring rate in T20 international cricket so far. 170 runs now per 100 balls. That was very, very hittable from Ben Stokes. What can he come back with? A leading edge as he bowls the one that's a little bit straighter, a little bit more back of a length. Bavuma trying to work to mid-on. It squirts off the outside part of the bat to point. Jason Roy fields. They come through for a single. Bavuma is
Nelson up.
Yes, indeed, 111 for 1, a half Richie,
all the ones.
a half Richie, if you will. Yes, yes. Bavuma is scoring at slightly over 10 runs per over, and Rossi van der Dussen is scoring at. He is scoring at 7.44 runs an over, so he probably needs to pick up the pace, and he tries to do exactly that. It was a short ball, slogged, and he's out. Van der Dussen trying to take on the short ball. It was onto him too quickly. Good diving catch. I think that's by Johnny Bairstow coming in from long leg. Made that catch look pretty easy, which it can't be with this wind blowing its way around Buffalo Park. Rossi van der Dussen gone for 31, South Africa 111 for 2. First of England's seamers to take a wicket today, Ben Stokes and Rossi van der Dussen's. innings that was probably going on slightly too long at that pace, in truth, is over. He did the right thing trying to pick up the pace. When you're 31 of 26 balls, it's hit out or get out. Tweets.
Gordon Wells, I think green and gold has been the traditional colour scheme when all the national teams were called Springboks from before sports sanction days.
Yeah, South Africa have tended to be in some combination of yellow and green. They tend to favour the yellow for the T20s. In at number 4, a man who got a very decent 50 indeed in the third one-day international at Johannesburg that kept South Africa competitive, as it turns out, far more competitive than we realised. Big left-hander.
Next is a real-life wife, David Miller. Qu'est-ce que c'est? Suffer for five, suffer five. He will bat left, go right, and score runs all day. David Miller, qu'est-ce que c'est?
Was carded at 5, but has got a promotion above John Smuts to try and keep South Africa's high scoring rate up. A slow ball outside off stump from Ben Stokes, almost a half volley, but driven by Miller to cover. There is no run. A successful over for Ben Stokes, back in T20 colours. South Africa, after 11 overs, 111 for 2, having been put into bat. Seeing the wicket again, yeah, top edge, it was on to Van der Dussen a little bit too quickly. Pretty hard to read what a par score is on this pitch.
Yeah, especially when South Africa have had such a flying start. And of course, only the third T20 played on here, so there's not
not a lot to go on. I haven't played an ODI here for a little while either, and obviously both sides heavily changed from the last time that they each played a T20 international. Adil Rashid continuing his third over, gone for 12 of his 2 overs, which in the context of this game is absolutely superb. He's in from the he's been Bavuma's been dropped, I think, by Joe Denley. Tossed up outside off stump from Adil Rashid. Again, a little bit similar to how Quinton de Kock got out to Moeen Ali. It dipped on Temba Bavuma as he tried to sweep. It went, in the end, it died just on Joe Denley, who had to come round from deep backward square leg. He did well to get in as far as he did, and he just puts it down low. Temba Bavuma dropped on 42. He takes the single with that drop to 43. Adil Rashid, a little bit unlucky.
Yeah, Joe Denley not having the best of days in the field.
No, he took a catch. He took a catch. It was a simple catch, but he took it. But yeah, he's had a couple bobble around him. Yeah, slip in place for the new man David Miller. Short fine leg up. Everyone else on the leg side is back. Starts with a leg break. Adil Rashid to the left-handed David Miller has to chase this out towards mid-wicket. The man comes in from mid-on, Johnny Bairstow, to keep them to a single.
Brian 001 just got the TV, and you lot cranked up only to have the TV commentary come up first. Sorry about that. Having to listen to David Lloyd rabbit on about the Saffers' poor review by Van der Dussen. Then he had to choke on his words when the original decision was overturned.
Yeah, that was an odd one. That was about Rashid's worst ball of the day, and it almost got him a wicket. Down the leg side, and that has been caught. Moeen and Adil Rashid combine. It was faster and flatter down leg. Bavuma lost his shape on the sweep shot again. Came too flat off the face of the bat. Moeen Ali takes a good low catch at short fine leg. Adil Rashid has a deserved wicket. England back in the game. South Africa 113 for 3. Nice change up of pace from Adil Rashid from the bunker's hill end to ensure that Bavuma couldn't time that as well as he wanted to, but a sprightly start from South Africa's newest one-day T20 international opener, 43 of 27 balls with 5 fours, but a rebuilding job for South Africa's middle order.
The Jersey Jingler on tweets. Wow, I had completely forgotten that I'd done that Miller jingle. Quite a shock.
Anyway, it's a cracker, Richard Peel.
Indeed, it is. Great one. Anyway, I reckon the Saffers are scoring way too slowly. England's game to lose.
It's not as fast as it looks, I don't think. Certainly Temba Bavuma, I think, was
going well.
Yeah, keeping things going. But Miller and this man, who passed his fitness test to make it into the one-day international squad, got his one-day international debut in that series, back in T20 colours. His first ball is short and flat from Adil Rashid, and mistimed pull goes straight back to the bowler on the bounce. There is no run hit by this man.
All gorillas out here, we like anything smutty.
Rashid tosses this up to John Smuts, who just blocks it into the onside. Owen Morgan does a slightly unnecessary tumble at mid-wicket to field. There is no run. John Smuts scores at barely over a run a ball in T20 international cricket we've just seen on screen. So hasn't yet established himself. The 4 men up in the circle are at short fine leg, shortish mid-wicket, shortish extra cover, and short third man. A googly from Adil Rashid, held back a little bit. Lovely changes of pace in that over from Adil Rashid. 2 runs and a wicket off it. He is a class white ball operator, Adil Rashid. South Africa 113 for 3 after 12.
Smuts hasn't got his timing with him, has he yet?
Certainly not. This England white ball side looks so much better for the presence of Adil Rashid than Moeen Ali.
Oh, definitely, yeah. You could see the difference between the first ODI and the final one. I mean, must be the second one. Well, hardly any play there, but I mean, Parkinson. I do like Parkinson. Has to be, but I think with the extra pace of Rashid and Ali, people have been saying about Parkinson just bowls it a little bit slower.
It's not that much that he bowls slower in terms of miles per hour. There's just not as much body in his action, so it doesn't kind of zip through as much. So Adil Rashid has managed to work out how to bowl that little bit quicker through the air without sacrificing spin or drift or dip. Anyway, we have the other spin twin back at the other end, the Buffalo Park drive end. He bowled 3 on the bounce through the power play, and he's back into the attack. Starts with the dot ball, which he fields well off his own bowling. In round the wicket to David Miller, tosses this up and driven by Miller down the ground. Should only be a single down too long off. It is. Chris Jordan is not going to be beaten by a Bobley outfield. They come through for 1.
Love unconditionally. It's Moeen Ali.
Very impressive from England in the last few overs. 2 wickets and just 9 runs off the last 2.2 overs. Much needed for England. And
yes, they went through the 100 in the 10th over, didn't they? So they have to slow down a lot.
Yes, been slowed down by the excellence of Adil Rashid. A little bit of turn from Moeen, but from pretty straight. Smuts gets off the mark with the push past Jason Roy at mid-wicket. Tom Curran comes in off the deep mid-wicket boundary to field. South Africa 115 for 3 rather, halfway through the 13th over.
I think if they lose a wicket here, then that's the last of their specialist batsmen gone. They've got Pretorius and Pef required to go.
Both good hitters, but very much sort of slogging bowling all-rounders. Roy half misfields at cover, probably simultaneously gave away 1 and saved a couple because Miller pushed that into the offside. In fact, they do come back for 2 because Roy took the pace off it, and Curran was able to mop up. That bubbled off the outfield as well as Miller pushed it into the onside. Nope, Roy just dived over it. They come through for 2. Miller moves to 4. Down the track comes David Miller, beaten in the flight by one that Moeen held back. I wonder if he saw Miller coming, and Miller has to drag this into the leg side and get to bottom edge, really, and out to deep square leg. They come through 4-1. This has been excellent from Moeen and Adil Rashid in the last few overs.
Well, they're having quite a bit of banter, those two, aren't they? Ali and Miller.
Yeah, it's unusual to see Moeen Ali so worked up. He's back over the wicket to John Smuts, and doesn't really know what to do with this Smuts, as it's just back of a length, and Smuts goes back in his crease and just blocked it back to Moeen Ali, who then runs into David Miller at the non-striker's end in trying to field the ball, but a superb 4th over from Moeen Ali. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 5 runs off it. Moeen Ali is bowled out 4 overs, 1 for 22. Adil Rashid has 3 overs, 1 for 14. England's spin twins doing the business again in the coloured clothing with the white ball. South Africa after 13 overs, 118 for 3.
Yeah, the spinner's 2 for 36 off 7 overs.
Yeah.
Whereas
only Stokes among the seamers has been under 14 runs and over.
14.
Odd-looking scorecard.
The quirks of T20 cricket.
Yes, indeed. Rashid is going to bowl out as he tosses this up from the Bunkers Hill end. That's the word I was struggling for last over. That's a fantastic shot by David Miller. Not a bad ball at all on leg stump, but reverse swept hard and just behind square by David Miller. Beats the man running around from deep point. 4 runs.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Maybe, if we're being harsh, a little bit too full from Adil Rashid, but beautiful shot by David Miller, who isn't necessarily known for his subtlety.
googly by Rashid as well.
A little bit. That was the leg break, which turns into Miller, and Rashid misfields of his own bowling. Ben Stokes comes screaming in from cover, but can't prevent the single. Yeah, it was just a little bit too full for it to matter whether it was a googly or not.
Hitting with the spin though, so.
Yes, yes, for sure. And picking the gap, David Miller.
Since the spinners have done so well, will we see a little bit of Joe Denley perhaps?
We might, yeah, who has taken some wickets in his brief T20 international career. Rashid's beaten Smuts in the flight. He had to do something really, 1 off 5. It's gone straight up in the air, and it's been dropped straight through Jason Roy, who has this weird habit of dropping sitters and taking absolute blinders. That went a mile up in the air and swirled, but Roy got himself under it, and almost like a rugby player struggling with a Gary Owen, it just went straight through his arms, dropped underneath him. He fell on the ball, and Smuts takes a single. Rashid denied a wicket by another drop.
I don't think he had to go very far, did he, Roy?
It went straight up in the air and swirled around a little bit. It was a lovely ball by Rashid. Smuts horribly beaten in the flight. And he just never got himself set. He tried to take it with his arms sort of clutched into his body.
Got a bit too close to it.
It just went straight through his hands and arms. And has given John Smuts a second run. England's fielding has not been good today.
How many drops is that now?
2, I think.
At least 2, yeah.
One tough one by Denley and one absolute sitter now by Roy. Clipped very hard by David Miller, and he's almost found the gap. Johnny Bairstow does good work coming around to his left from long on. Miller comes through for 2. That was very nicely timed indeed by David Miller. Yeah, Bairstow's got an absolute rocket of an arm. He beat John Smuts completely in the flight, didn't he? Smuts doesn't seem to have a clue against the spinners.
And that's the pressure of Smuts, only on 1 off 5.
Googly from Arthur Rashid, a little bit back of a length, and I think trying to get Smuts on strike, and has done so because Miller nudges the single out to deep mid wicket. We're seeing this drop again from Jason Roy many, many times, and it gets progressively worse with every single replay.
He just never looked comfortable at all.
No, he didn't seem to have a clue where the ball was going to come down. His feet weren't set. He was on the move, and down it went. A googly for the finish from Arthur Rashid. Adrian Holstock says no as they go for the LBW appeal. I think that. Oh, he's giving it leg buys. Maybe he thinks it was turning too much and going down leg. It looked pretty straight. Anyway, a leg buy to finish. South Africa 128 for 3, and Arthur Rashid finishes with 4 overs, 1 for 23, and was frankly unlucky. And that's definitely turning down leg. Good decision by umpire Holstock. Yeah, 4 overs, 1 for 23 for Arthur Rashid. Bowled superbly, was frankly unlucky not to have a couple more wickets. South Africa 128 for 3 and have been stymied by England's superb pair of white ball spinners.
Continuation finished off on Sunday, didn't he?
Certainly. Yeah, Matt Parkinson bowled very well in the T20s in New Zealand, and presumably will get a go at some point in this series, but I think he'll do very well, put it that way, to displace Arthur Rashid from the first choice 11. What have we got on social media, Steve?
Absolutely gone quiet.
What have we got on Crick Tracker and so forth?
Nothing there. The last one was Noreen. Gokul Aher says, hi Pavel, happy birthday, bro.
It is the birthday of the great Pavel Florin, the king of cricket social media. Stokes comes back into the attack from the Buffalo Park drive end, replacing Moen, who's bowled out back of a length and nudged by Smuts down the ground to Chris Jordan. They come through for a single. Really, if Smuts is not going to be able to hit the boundaries, he's better. Well, arguably he's better back in the pavilion, but he's better certainly not on strike.
Yeah, maybe we'll see a few change-ups, a few slower balls.
Yeah, it's not something
from the likes of Curran and Jordan.
We've seen it a little bit. Curran, when he came back for his over, bowled a lot of slow balls. It's not something you tend to see from Ben Stokes very often. I'm not sure he's quite in the top echelon of T20 players, Ben Stokes. Certainly with the ball.
You must be a very kind captain, Knuckle, when you're playing cricket.
How do you mean?
Oi, out. If you're not going to hit the ball, get out.
Oh, quite right. Full outside off stump and driven by Miller. Moen is up in the circle at mid-off, but they are able to come through for the single. Again, having David Miller not on strike is not a bad outcome for England at this stage.
Ravi Reddy. So many misfields from England. Are there perhaps some tired bodies in the camp? Has been a long summer, bracket, Southern Hemisphere.
I mean, there's been quite... this is a relatively new T20... not new, but there are lots of players playing their first game for a little while in this in this team. Slow ball from Stokes. He does have it in his locker. Maybe I think an off cutter perhaps, and it dipped into John Smuts as he tried to smash it through the leg side. He's only able to turn it to deep mid wicket. 3 singles, the first 3 balls of this over. Well bowled by Ben Stokes.
Yeah, I think one thing England have done quite well is rotate the squads around. So obviously in the ODI squad, he had Banton, Mahmood, Parkinson, of course, and no Moeen Ali and Adil Rashid, no Stokes, no Butler, whereas now they're back in the T20 squad after the Test series.
As Stokes is in a short ball, which does Miller for pace a little bit, and he does well actually to get this down and in front of the square. Joe Denley fields it deep mid wicket. There is no run. Well, I mean, Saqib is in this T20 squad, but only as an injury replacement for Jofra Archer. Pat Brown's got a back stress fracture of the back. He was named in both white ball squads, but got a stress fracture just before the Big Bash started. Moeen and Adil Rashid were, of course, in the one-day international squad and played bowled and were a major part of England's win on Sunday that levelled the series. 4 men up in the offside at short third man, backward point, extra cover and mid off for John Smuts. So Stokes, of course, does follow him into the body. It is given a wide and technically correct. Bongani Jele spreads the arms as Stokes tried to bowl a slow ball into the pitch, following Smuts down the leg side. Just got it the wrong side of the South African right-hander.
Yes, he's backing away, but it's still down the leg side of him.
Yep, still wide.
If he's backing away, just bowl a full one off stump, surely.
Well, I mean, the general rule is that bowlers like to follow batsmen when they go either back away or go outside off stump to try and cramp them for room. Short ball, and Smuts finally times one, but picks out Tom Curran at deep mid wicket. They come through for the single. 1 ball left of the over. 5 runs plus the wide off this from Stokes. It's been very good, following up the excellent work of Adil Rashid and Moeen Ali, who've really put the brakes on this innings. What was South Africa at after 10 overs?
102, 103?
A lot.
Over 10 and over.
I'll look at that in just a second. They brought up their 100 in the 10th over, so it's been excellent from England in the last few overs. A slow ball into the pitch outside off stump, and Miller smashes this into the offside. Morgan half missed fields at cover, but it was always going to be a single. 6 runs plus the wide off that over. Stokes has gone for 1 for 13 off his 2. Excellent stuff from Ben Stokes. South Africa after 5, 135 for 3. There'll be a change.
We need your alternative cricket commentary, bringing you laughs, bringing you jingles, bringing you joy. We are Gorillas. We need your patreon.com/Gorilla Cricket.
That's a tasty looking bucket of KFC.
135. They've got a giant bucket-shaped stand out there, and apparently you get something if you hit the ball into it. Have we got any tweets?
Just the one. Ravi Reddy continues on his theme. If Miller gets them to 220, England will struggle. Maximum chase from the visitors will be 30 to 40 runs short, he thinks.
220 is quite a long way away.
The projected
It's
score
85 runs off 5 overs. Anyway, Curran is back into the attack. It's full ball. It's driven up in the air, out towards long off. Is there a man underneath it? There is, and he takes a catch running back. It's Chris Jordan, probably the safest hands in this England team, takes the catch, and that is the end of Miller. Go O-U-T.
I won't look back, 'cause by the time that I do, you'll be gone.
That was a good catch.
It was. He had to run back. He was obviously inside the circle. It's always difficult when you're trying to take a catch over your shoulder. It went quite high. That's a really, really good grab by Chris Jordan.
Showing up the rest of the idiots in the side.
Well, had he put that down, you would have said, well, it's a very tough catch.
Exactly.
But England have put down a couple of absolute
Well, the Roy
sitters.
one was ridiculous, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Not only did he never get into any decent shape to take a fairly comfortable catch, but he had his eyes closed.
Oh well, these things happen. Anyway, Phil Jones, following up on the idea of the 220, re South Africa's tail, Shamsi, Steen and Ngidi have averages 3.2 and 6. They've scored 22 runs between them, having faced 37 balls.
Okay, that doesn't look too good, does it? Well, I mean, they were projected at 220. I went under 194.5. just before Van der Dussen fell.
Well, the new batsman is Andile Pechluquayo.
And he has a jingle that goes a bit like this.
Well, South Africa are in danger, perhaps, of throwing away a good start. They've lost some wickets, and they have two batsmen in who are just getting started. The projected scores, if they get 10 and over from here, they'll get 183. As Curran is in, bowls to Smuts a slower ball, and he just drops this down to third man for a single. 136 for 4. 2 balls have gone of the 16th over.
See, I think we're better at dealing with spin than these guys are. We shall see, but I think anything up to about 180, 190 England should
get. Yeah.
Would back themselves to chase. It doesn't mean they will, but they'll, you know, with the stacked batting lineup that England have, it's pretty much their top team, their top batting team in T20 cricket, except of course Joe Denley. As Curran is going to be bowling to the Pechluquayo, who makes room and absolutely smashes this over wide long off. That's a really good shot for his first ball, and he's got a maximum. Almost a maximum. It was quite flat, but he just made room. He cleared his front leg out the way, swung through. There was no fielder out there anyway, and Curran has taken a bit of tap in this innings, has gone for another maximum. He's in again, bowls a shorter ball, which is pulled into the leg side, past the square leg umpire. It's fielded by Moeen at deep square leg, just a single to Pechluquayo, 143 for 4.
On cricket track, Pankaj Sharma says hi, as does Arif Khan.
Hello to you.
Hello to you.
And everybody on Crick Tracker and all our other platforms. We're on YouTube. We're on our own Facebook page. We're on TuneIn. This is a short ball which is muscled into the leg side by Smuts. There's nobody at mid-wicket, and he picks up 4 runs. At the start of this over, England were outsiders, but only just, and they've dropped dramatically during the course of it, as far as the odds are concerned, which tells you a little bit of what's happened this over. And Curran's
not bowled well.
No, that's a shorter ball and a slower ball, and it's dragged by Smuts out to deep mid-wicket for a single. And that's the end of the 16th over. How many of it off it were there? There was a wicket off the first ball, and then 13 runs off the next 5. 148 for 4 off 16. The run rate is 9.25. Anything on the Twitter front?
Yeah, a bit of public service broadcasting required here from Mark Zip. Says, morning all.
Morning.
Non-cricket question for the betters. I got Spurs in the hot dog shop Uferpool. Can someone please tell me the proper old-fashioned odds for them? The only ones I can see from USA are strange numbers or geo-blocked, and no VPN to hand.
Do you mean Tottenham Hotspur?
I presume so.
To win something? There are no odds because they never win anything.
I haven't got my phone, but I'll have a look for you. Hold on. I'll investigate.
To what?
Public service.
The Champions League?
Depends what betting service you want.
Who are they playing anyway? I can't remember.
Anyway, Stokes is starting a new over, and this is dragged out to mid-wicket by Smuts. There is a mid-wicket there. He doesn't field it very well, Johnny Bairstow, but he's done enough to prevent them coming back for a second, just the 1 run.
Nearly breaks Stokes' hand with the throws.
Yeah, Stokes half stops it. Before he goes and collects the ball, which is run a few yards away from him, he claps Bairstow, because I think they're quite protective of Bairstow's feelings, let's put it that way. Yes, I better clap him before I go and pick up the ball.
With my broken finger.
Yeah, 149 for 4. We have 3 overs and 5 balls remaining. And there is some movement of the field. Stokes has been, 1 for 14 off 2.1 is pretty good compared to some of his teammates. He's in right arm over the wicket, and this is a wide outside the off stump. Pechluquayo was moving hither and yon, but he would have had to have been a man with 7-foot arms to reach that one, and it's a wide. Bear's still checking for the odds, so I'm not going to give you my Annie Lennox impression. 150 for 4.
What?
That was auto-tune Annie Lennox.
Outright.
You know, if you bet on Spurs, you're throwing your money away. As Stokes comes in and bowls, and this is shorter and slower. And it's muscled out to Morgan at extra cover. They do take a single. 8 off 3 balls from Peklukwai. Smuts is on to strike now. He has 12 from 14. It's not quite the run rate you want at this stage of the innings.
Oh no, they're in the Champions League, aren't they? No,
Yes,
no.
they are.
Yeah, the proper.
They've got not
proper
too
one.
tough a draw. They've got Leipzig, who I watched the other day, who were pretty ordinary, I have to say. Let's see what Stokes can dig up now as he bowls to JJ Smuts. It's short, and he's pulled it very well behind square. He's timed it very well, and he gets 4. Good God, yeah.
2 + 2 is on my
Yeah, just maybe they should try a tactic of bowling full and straight.
At the stumps.
Yeah, maybe.
It was a poor ball, wasn't it?
Well, Spurs, you get good odds. 25 to 1, Spurs.
Which means if you put on a tenner, you'll lose a tenner. As
More than likely.
Stokes bowls and Smuts stays back in his crease, and he's put this out towards deep mid on. They've taken 1. They're going to come back for 2. It's into a bit of a dead area between mid wicket and mid on. So good running from these two. 157 for 4.
Kate Holdsworth tweets in, so many spelling and grammatical errors. Bull. My pedantic side is ticking away. You have to get
Who's
used to
making
it,
the
Kate.
spelling and grammatical errors, Kate?
Name and shame.
157 for 4. Stokes bowls. Again it's short, and again it's dinked towards mid on. This time Stokes makes the 15 or 20 yards to field that. They do take a single. 158 for 4. His partnership is now 23 off 11. That's good after the clatter of wickets that fell. And
Right, 6 and 4 didn't blinding, didn't it?
well, these do change. The odds change very quickly. England pick up 2 wickets and 2 balls now, and they will swing back dramatically the other way. In comes Ben Stokes. Short.
Good ball.
It's wide of the off stump, and judging from Butler's reaction, the umpire. No, he's not called a wide. He's called a no ball. That's going to be a no ball and a free hit for an overstep from Ben Stokes.
That's bad, man.
Which is not something that.
Over the line! Huh? I'm sorry, Smokey. You were over the line. That's a foul.
It's not something that England have been prone to in white ball cricket in recent years, but they have been a lot in Test matches. Yeah, that's a good decision. He had nothing behind the line.
Bloody tight, but correct.
Yeah, correct decision. Umpires will, or standing umpires will have it taken away from them if the new ICC rules come into effect, where they're going to have
That's a good decision.
somebody looking for front foot. Well, how do I describe
bowled
this?
him in.
He's gone way outside the off stump as Peklukwai. Stokes followed him. He then tried to shovel it down towards fine leg, and it either hit him. Well, it hit him on the pads. He was so far wide, he was outside the tram lines when that hit him.
You got a bat.
Well outside the tram lines. It would have been the widest wide in wide lane. It nearly bounced onto the stumps, and they come through for a leg bye off the free hit. And that's the end of the 17th over. 160 for 4.
Armchair Cricket Podcast tweets, a good job by England in the middle overs. South Africa have scored only 37 for 2 over the last 5 overs, up to 16 overs. 180 plus score would make it a stiff ask still.
I think 180, 190 is doable for England looking at this pitch.
They're
Kartik Kanans adds, I think SA are
they're Colonel
heading
Sanders.
towards 190.
They are heading for
tough
190
for England
now.
despite their top order.
Yeah, there's 3 overs to go, and they're 160 for 4. You'd think they would be looking at 130 plus. Chris Jordan, who's very much Mr. Feast or Famine, he either bowls incredible overs that go for 3 runs, or he goes for sort of 28.
He's a good death bowler, he says. I hope I'm not putting the mockers on him. Let's give him a jingle anyway.
Chris Jordan's back will make him cry. More England caps will soon draw nigh. Or if they don't, then it will seem he'll wish he'd joined the Windies team.
team.
Well, his 1 over so far has gone for 14.
Mind you, the other death bowler, Wood's gone for what, 29 off 2, and
Same
Tom
sort of
Curran's gone for 41 off 3. So these are the 3 worst bowlers coming into the last 3 overs. I've got under 194 and a half, Fred.
Oh,
It's going to be it could be close.
You're reasonable. Let's see what Jordan does as he bowls to Andile Peklequayo. It's a full toss just outside off stump, and it's driven carved towards Morgan at extra cover, who stops it calmly. Just the 1 run. I think you're going to win that bet, actually.
I'm quite confident,
yeah.
But a bad
You've
over.
got like a 70% chance of winning that at the moment, I would say. Smuts is on strike. He has 19 off 17. He started slowly. I mean, he's only been in for 17 balls, but he looked to pick it up in the last 5 or 6 deliveries that he's faced.
Should have been out. Should have been caught.
He's the man who should be back in the pavilion, isn't he?
Yeah.
Well, there's some talk about where the fielders are going. The fine leg is up. And there's a wide mid-off and an extra cover, so that he's looking to be bowling full outside the off stump, which he does, and that's going to be a dot ball because it's inside the tram lines. Smuts gave himself a little bit of room outside the leg stump and watches it go past.
He's quite a big unit, this Smuts dude, isn't he?
He was compared to you
Really?
by somebody in the last test. His bowling.
Oh, really?
Yeah, sort of a bustly
Left
slow
armour.
left armour.
A bustly bear.
No, I get a good stride in. I get right on my toes, man.
You do come into the wicket quite quickly, actually.
Yeah. Good pivot.
Good pivot. Yeah.
Just small hands.
So Jordan's 2 balls have gone for 1 and dot. Let's see what he can drag up this time. It's full on the off stump, and it's just pushed to cover by Smuts. Another single. This is a good over for
At the moment, one
England.
of his good overs.
Good over for the Bear.
Yeah.
2 runs off 3 balls so far. What do the Twitter sphere have to say?
Nothing since Kartik's message.
Okay.
And nothing on Crick Tracker since the
Oh,
last
come on,
hellos.
Right, so the left-hander's come on strike. So we've seen a deep mid-wicket go out. We've seen a wideish long-on go out. As in comes Jordan. It's on the leg stump. It's hit up into the air, out towards, backward square leg and over the boundary. That's 6 runs. And a very enthusiastic man who got that ball over the boundary, then threw it in with such venom that he fell over as he threw it.
You know what? I don't think the cutters are working. This isn't a wicket for cutters, is it? This is the wicket that you bowl full pay. They get this wrong so often, England. Every time they've tried to slow it, bowl down and bowl cutters, they've been clonked over the boundary.
Well, and they should have Ben Stokes out at deep mid-wicket or deep square leg, because he caught Peklequayo in the first game of the World Cup, which was quite an astonishing catch. Apparently he claimed he was in the wrong place. As Jordan bowls again, it's full on a leg stump, and it gets through. It would have been a wide had Peklequayo stayed inside it, but he didn't. It went between him and the stumps through to Butler, who, glory be, took it cleanly. It's a dot ball, so 1.16 dot so far this over, 168 for 4.
Dot or 1, that's what I'm looking for.
You're pretty good.
I'm pretty good, yeah.
But not, you're not home and dry yet.
Couple of 6s really fuck it up though, don't they?
Well, yes. It's often the case. In comes Jordan bowls. It's full and straight, and he can only get a single as he drives this up to. No, they're going to come back for 2. No, they don't. Full and straight. He's got the job done. Amazing, really, isn't it?
Funny that.
169 for 4 off 18 overs.
Gits and Gratz tweets, you can all go to the pub before it gets too busy. England have won. Maybe play Not Fred's Euro Hits playlist to keep the listening figures up for the rest of the day? Question mark.
What playlist?
Not Fred's Euro Hits playlist.
Euro hits.
Yes, I have been tweeting out some Euro hits of the last 30 years.
Have you?
Yes.
What Euro hits? What such delight?
Stuff like Jola Taxi.
Oh, that's terrible.
And yeah, they've all been terrible.
Oh, okay.
Hocus Pocus by Focus. Do you know Hocus
God,
Pocus by
no,
Focus?
that doesn't ring a bell. Thank God.
It's bizarre. It's sort of heavy metal with yodeling in it.
It's an interesting combination.
It was my.
There was some terrible poodle rock.
My
bands
goodbye to the EU. Thread, which is still going on. I've got some classics to come. We had some Terrible haircuts from Germany.
Oh, fuck me, yes, he did. Scorpions. Who was that?
Not quite the Scorpions. I'll see if I can find some.
Final Countdown. They were Swedish, though, weren't they?
Yeah,
Europe. They were actually called Europe, weren't they, as well?
They were called Europe, yes.
That was terrible. They were awful.
I've gone for some lesser known ones. Anyway, Mark Wood is back into the attack.
This could be trouble.
Just for one over.
Well, he's got a good jingle, though, so we'll play that.
Do you know Mark Wood?
Yes, he is an England bowler, quite good and pretty quick.
So just a normal guy.
Of course, except for just one thing.
What?
He thinks that he's a horse.
What?
I had some Falco.
Oh, they were terrible. Rock Me Amadeus, wasn't it?
No, I went for the other one. Vienna calling as Wood is round the wicket to the left-handed Fekler. It's full and straight. He misses the ball. Butler takes it's a dot ball.
Funny that.
Full and straight and quick. Well, not that quick. 84 miles an hour.
Just quick enough. Full and straight. Man.
James Humston tweets, Dad would like to know who the fine countertenor on the Jordan jingle is.
It's all James Sherwood, and we were actually there when he did it.
Yeah.
He recorded all 4 parts. He messed up the lyrics in one of them, which is why the penultimate word doesn't quite work. Do you remember Rafael Carra's "Do It Again" from 1978? As another dot ball from Wood as he bowls a slower ball outside the off stump. Pellequire tries to hit himself off his feet, swings himself off his feet, and misses the ball completely. It's 72 miles an hour from England's speedster. So Bear,
that was a slow ball that worked.
You can start spending the money, I think.
Don't speak too soon, Fred. Don't speak too soon.
You've
got England to win as well.
I've got England to win, yeah.
So we'll both be cheering at the end.
We will. Keep bowling there with that result, and we'll be quite happy. What's Wood going to do this time? Oh, it's a full ball zeroing into the stumps. Pellequire does manage to carve it out to deep extra cover, but it's only 1 run. This is a really good over from Mark Wood. He's playing rock, paper, scissors with the batsman, and he's won 3 in a row, I think.
Nuna asked, why has Denley not bowled considering the comparative performances of seamers and spinners?
Because Denley's shit, and the problem is when he has his first over, he'll probably bowl a couple of half trackers and a full toss, which will go a long way. In a T20, you can't really afford it, I don't think.
This was a terrible song. The Art Company, Susanna. Do you remember that?
Oh, no, that's a bit too early for me.
Terrible haircuts.
So this is the highest T20 score at this ground.
Oh, is it?
Apparently. They just
well,
put
that
up on
doesn't
the
bode well for England, but it does look like, I think with England's line-up there.
Wood is back over the wicket to the right-handed Smuts. It's full and straight. It's chipped up in the air towards mid-off, who takes the catch, running in Ben Stokes. It's another dot ball. Smuts has gone. Wood has picked up a wicket. Well, Wood took some tap earlier in this game, but he's come back and bowled the penultimate over for England in this innings, and he's done a really good job. That was just chipped up in the air, the full toss actually, and Stokes running in wasn't going to miss that with his bucket hands, although he did drop a lot of catches over this winter, but he's taken some absolute blinders.
Yeah, he had one game, he dropped 3
well,
a day,
he was standing
he?
very, very close at slip, and couldn't take everything that came his way. 170 for 5, and I think this game is, well, if not quite heading back entirely towards England.
We've certainly got a good chance. It was looking bad when they were looking at T20, wasn't it? I mean, we bowled really poorly, to be fair, up front. We're getting way too many runs on that power play, and England have got to try and do the same. And see how Dale Steyn bowls, having not seen him for a number of years. In. Oh, yeah, we could do.
He's the number 7 for South Africa, and his name is
Victorious.
There's 8 balls left of this innings. They did cross, so he's not going to be on strike as it's shorter outside the off stump. Pellequire again tries to hit the ball much too hard and only muscles it to Morgan at extra cover for a single. So dot 1 wicket 1 so far this over. It could hardly have gone any better for England and for the Bear.
We have another beautiful drawing from Dr. Dan of Bavuma hitting a gorgeous shot before he got out. And then Phil Jones asked, looking forward to getting out of the office and to the pub in time for England's innings. We'll still be listening to your commentary, of course. Well
Right,
done,
thank
Phil.
you.
Well, play it to the whole pub.
Nothing compares to a Wednesday night out in Oswestry.
Oswestry, that's Hippydom in Shropshire.
Wood to complete the over. This is placed straight to the man at point. They are going to take the single. Bairstow it is who does the fielding. The end of the 19th over. 172 for 5. Only 3 runs off that over.
My friend Julius and the guy who wrote a Peep Show, his name's gone out of my head, who I went to university with, came from Oswestry. A lot of hippies went there in the 60s.
Sure, it's near
Not
Wales, isn't
not
it?
Steve Pemberton.
Is it near Wales?
Yeah, it's in
I
Wales.
thought
It's
it was
just
in
over the
Wales,
Welsh
yeah.
border.
Oh,
Shropshire is just over the Welsh border. Sort of west of Manchester.
Mark Zip tweets, I rather like Bambaleo by Gypsy King.
Oh, Bambaleo was a good song. It was a good album, the Gypsy King. Yeah, I was concentrating more on the really naff stuff. It's a long series. It might be going on for a while. Anyway, the last over of the South African innings will be bowled by Chris Jordan. He's gone for 23 off the 2 overs thus far.
I could handle 11. That'd be 183. I'd be winning.
Well, you want
I've got 194 and a half.
Well, they need to get 23 off this last over for you to lose your money.
Mm-hmm.
So there's something for them to
It's
aim
happened
at.
to me in the IPL.
Yeah. Anyway, the fielders on the boundary seem to be at deep mid wicket, deep long on, obviously deep because they're on the boundary. I can't see what's going on the offside, but gold chain around his neck. In comes Jordan to Pretorius. Full and straight, takes out the off stump. A wicket has fallen.
Yay! It's another one.
Well, can anyone who's got access to the where the ball has gone in this innings tell me how many runs have been scored off the full and straight deliveries?
Yeah.
Not all that many. Well, he mowed across the line. It's a last over of the innings shot, but he's lost his off stump as Pretorius. It's a dot ball.
And they were about 100. What were they? They were going 10 and over after 12, weren't they? 120 after 12.
Yeah.
England have really pulled this back.
Yeah, it was the spinners just after that, and they lost it a little bit again. But a good over from Wood and a good start to this last over from Jordan. It does help if you're going to hit the stumps, doesn't it?
Does indeed. He's a very good death bowler, Jordan.
He
does get a bit of tap
he
up
is
top.
sometimes. Well, the new batsman.
More often than not, I reckon.
The number 8 is one of the many Hendrixes that are around this.
It's
South
a shame
African
we
team.
can't do Jimi Hendrix music, but
No, we could do people taking off. Anyway, his jingle will have to wait for delivery because Jordan bowls full and straight, takes out, he's off stump, 2 in a row.
Way!
He's out before his jingle was
Sappers are
played.
reeling and can't get a break. Their pacemen are injured, they hurt and they ache. Dale Steyn hurt his shoulder, so they're short.
and it's going to
Hendrix. And Hendrix.
That's gone.
Hendrix is in.
And he's out. Well, he bowled full and straight. Actually swung a little bit away. It was a very decent delivery. He tried to drive it, did Hendrix. And whoever it was who tweeted in earlier and said they're 9, 10 and Jack is absolutely hopeless. Well, we're down to them now,
Yes,
aren't we?
indeed. Averages are 0, 3.2 and 0.2 or something.
0.2, that's quite difficult to get there. Well, he's on a hat-trick. I don't think he's going to have people around the bat, but Buren Hendricks took the
couple of slips
long
in.
walk out. He's now taking the long walk back, slightly shamefacedly. Has gone for a duck.
Oh, now here's a man I haven't seen for a very, very long time.
One for you, so for Katie.
Yeah. This will probably kick off a YouTube thing.
Jordan comes in, hat-trick ball, and it's glided past between the keeper and fine leg for 4 runs.
By the way he rubs his balls, he's South African, it's not his fault. At full pelt, hair in him, is he on the eye, but not the chin. He's got short leg, umbrella slits, you need a box to guard your bits, or you can try to clip to leg, the next one might uproot off peg. Whether it's a yoke or a wear, the simple shots don't stay alive, Hear the stumps are breaking and everybody's shrieking, Dale Staines alive, Staines alive. Dale, 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 Staines alive, Staines alive. Dale, Dale.
Oh, he's carved this one sweetly through cover, but it's gone straight to Moeen Ali at deep on the offside, so it's a single sustain. He has 5 off 2. Well, Jordan tried with his hat-trick ball to bowl full and straight. He just got it slightly to the leg side and clipped it well. So he did try and bowl legitimate.
Staines averages 3.26
before this innings. It's now gone up massively.
Well, no, not necessarily.
Depends how many outs he's had.
It was Phil Jones's tweet. 3.2 for Stain, and Ngidi has got 6.
Kwayo will be on strike for the last, for the penultimate ball of the innings, and I think South Africa will hope it's the last 2, because he's struck the ball quite well. He has 18 off 13. In comes Jordan to bolt him full and straight. He's driven it back to him. And Jordan takes it on the bounce and walks towards the stumps at the bowler's end to see if Stain had not got back, but he had. So it's a dot ball. Did that come off? He's hit it into the ground. He's
double hit.
Double hit, actually. Yeah.
Appeal, goddamn.
No, it's only deliberately if you hit it twice. You can't be out if you accidentally hit it twice. And let's see what Jordan can do with a lot. You're safe.
I'm safe.
You must be safe, unless he bowls a succession of beamers, which all get hit for 6. It's 177 for 7. There's 1 ball left of the innings, and there is still some tinkering with the field as Jordan up to the wicket bowls full and straight. It's driven back to him, and it's going to be a run out. So it's another dot ball. 177 for 8 of the 20 overs. 2 terrific last overs from Wood and then Jordan. And England will have to chase 178 to win this, the first of 3 T20s at East London. And we're going to have a little break, and we shall be back for the start of the second innings of this match. And until then, we shall play
something
highlights. See you soon.
Yeah, no, I'm not going to play highlights. I'm going to play an interview of some description. Well, I'll have to find something.
I'm with Pakistan cricket journalist Mazhar Ashad, and we're just looking at the Pakistan team lineup as they practice. And let's talk through that team. The experience of Azhar Ali will be very important in this lineup.
Yeah, I think he's the most experienced batsman in this team, and he did well when Pakistan came here. I mean, in England 2 years ago. He scored a century in Birmingham, and he's a very experienced batsman. And he will bring a lot of confidence as well. So yeah, it will be interesting to see him opening the innings tomorrow.
And Inzamam is here, and he's watching the players practice, and it's his nephew who will be opening the batting with Azhar.
Yeah, it's an interesting call because
Imam.
Yeah, because 2 years ago, Samir Islam opened he was given a chance as an opener in England, and he did well, but this time Pakistan, they are relying on Imamul Haq, who is the nephew of, as you said, nephew of the chief selector in Imamul Haq, and he did well. I think he deserved this chance. He scored 50s in both the side matches. So yeah, it will be a new opening pair for Pakistan, and I think that it will be really interesting. Yeah.
First wicket down, Haris Sohail.
Well, Haris, they are playing him at number 3 for the very first time. He has played only 2 test matches before, and he played at 4 or 5 in the UAE. But this time they are trying him as an opener, and it is very rare to see a left-hand batsman in Pakistan's middle order lineup. So he's a very talented batsman. He has lots of runs. He has scored lots of runs in the domestic cricket. He does not have too much first-class experience though in the last 2 or 3 years. But Pakistan, they have trusted his ability to have him here.
And then coming straight off the back of his century against Northamptonshire, we have Asad Shafiq at 4.
Yeah, Asad Shafiq, he always wants to bat up the order. Although he has a great record at number 6, he has 9 centuries at number 6, the most by any batsman in Test history at number 6. But 2 years back, Pakistan, they used him at number 4 at the Oval when he scored century. So I think that Pakistan is going with that again, and he also scored 186 not out in the warm-up game against Northamptonshire. So he's the second most experienced batsman in this lineup after Azhar Ali.
And we know Babar Azam for his explosive performances in one-day cricket. How do you see him as a Test match batsman at number 5?
Well, to be very honest, he's an extremely talented batsman, but his record in Test cricket is totally opposite to what he has done in one-day cricket. He is struggling for runs, but the good sign is that he found some form in the side games, and now Pakistan he has batted at number 3 in the previous Test matches, and he didn't have much luck with that. But now Pakistan believe that he can do a better job at number 5. So yeah, it's a good choice, and he's extremely talented and very pleasing to watch.
Number 6.
Number 6, Sarfraz, the captain himself. He will be batting at number 6, no doubt about that.
And his word about his captaincy style, he's been again effective in the limited overs, white ball formats. Still something to prove as a Test match captain?
Well, he has just played 2 games. He had just 2 Test matches as captain, and both games they were very close. A decision. They could have won both the games. Unfortunately, they lost, but I think it's still too early to say anything about his captaincy, but he has delivered results in T20 cricket, in one-day cricket, so we can hope that he can turn out to be a good captain in Test cricket as well.
Good motivator of the team.
Yeah, exactly. He's always like talking to his pair on the field, sometimes shouting at them, but that's his style, and it has worked so far.
Big shoes to fill. Yasir Shah not on this tour, being replaced by Shadab Khan.
Yeah, he was Pakistan's go-to man